Hello, and welcome to the Comicspiracy, episode number 89, your last episode for 2012. It is December 31st, New Year's Eve day, and we are recording an episode of the Comic Podcast. Because we missed last week. We got a big, giant group of people here to talk some nerdy shit at you. So, starting on my left, who is here?
Brock Sager.
Omar.
Traveling all the way from LA to join us for a special Spider-Man 700 podcast. You may remember him. His name is...
Seth.
Hello, Seth.
Holy shit, he has braces now, too.
That's new.
Yes, I do.
Uh-oh.
He went to get grills and they put braces on him. It was embarrassing.
They were cheaper.
And Bryce.
Toby.
And Charlie.
Hello, everyone. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Good.
Excellent.
Good.
Fabulous.
Everyone get everything they wanted?
Always.
For the most part?
For the
Ninja
most part.
Turtles Lego.
Ninja Turtle Lego?
Nice.
It's freaking awesome.
I got a gift
They
certificate.
started coming out already?
I guess so. I got one of them. I got Raphael.
Sweet.
I got a gift certificate to Herring and Robertson, which I used to pick up my bindings.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had my
Awesome.
balls licked for breakfast. It was awesome.
Nice.
But it was by his dog.
By your dog. I was going to say, by your dog?
Why do you have to go there, man?
That's your
didn't
Christmas
know.
gift.
It's just as good.
That's not what I dreamed of.
You're like, hey,
The song was so
hey,
long.
master.
Dang.
I just want to know what you left on your nutsack for your dog to go
Peanut
attack him
butter.
like
Let's
that.
go too, bro.
Yeah,
Peanut butter.
Come on.
Well, that's a special Christmas episode that we don't need to talk about.
The
That was
lost,
Christmas
lost.
present to himself.
So we missed last week. Being Christmas, people were busy. I didn't want to stay super late and record. Everyone else had stuff to do, so yeah, there you go. So we'll record a bit of a longer episode this week. And when I say a longer episode, that means it's going to be like 25 minutes long, right? Because it's the opposite. Whenever I say it's going to be short, it runs long. So yeah. We're going to get to a bunch of best of lists and a bunch of random crap. But there's one little bit of comic news that I think we wanted to talk about. And that was Spider-Man number 700 that came out last week. Or, yeah, this past week. There was like 4 books that shipped this past week, and one of them was Amazing Spider-Man 700. And apparently, everyone that is on the internet that reads comic books has never read a comic book before because people lost their goddamn mind over this book in bad ways. And I just shake my head every time this happens because it's like no one's ever read a comic book before, or heaven forbid these things don't last more than 6 months, or I just can't. I don't know. Everyone with me?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone on the internet is crazy when it comes to comic books.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. For those that don't know, Peter Parker is now dead, quote unquote, having switched bodies with Dr. Octopus, and Dr. Octopus is now the superior Spider-Man. And there you go.
I like how his eyes are going to be more like beady, though. That's fucking awesome.
Like the costume.
Yeah.
Well, he has to do that because of the new upgrades he did to the islands as themselves. Did you read Avenging Spider-Man 15?
No, I did not.
Come on, Omar.
Come on, man.
See, I don't know that. I just thought he was going to eventually have a fucking... We're going to have bowl cut Spidey. And then I'd be like, yeah, let's do that shit.
No, that's...
No, it's it's Doc Ock is like upgrading all of his suit and his like lenses, and like he even has these claws in his hands and a big claw on his big toe. Which
I'm sure we'll forget about it, just like
stupid.
how we forgot about that whole other storyline.
I can't believe they changed Spider-Man's costume to be the Iron Spider. Man, that sure lasted forever.
Yeah,
wasn't
Yeah.
Peter Parker doing upgrades to his costumes anyways? Like,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
When he started working at Horizon, he started doing the full, I can design my own tech to build into the suit and counter this bad guy with this. And
But those are just, arc stories, so that was like, there was a reason to it. This is just like Doc Ock being a dick, saying I can be better than Spider-Man.
But
well,
it's gonna
yeah,
last.
but that's Doc Ock for you. He kind of has a pretty high opinion of his intelligence and thinks he can do things better than everybody else. Like there was
there's no way.
little mini story of him in Iron Man where he pretty much went to Tony Stark and pretty much said, "Look, I couldn't cure myself. If you're supposed to be so smart, I bet you can't cure me
Don't even
either."
get me started on that grovel porn shit.
Oh, fucking Brock.
I swear,
Can't stop. Just please stop talking. Please stop talking.
grovel porn.
Oh, if I ever hear that... 2013... If I ever hear that phrase again after tomorrow,
I'm fired.
You're fired.
What does
I'm not
that
even
mean?
joking.
Man?
I don't even get it.
It-
I'm
it's just
totally
Brock-
lost.
Brock gets this thing in his head and he just beats it into submission until we're all sick of it, which is like 30 seconds afterwards. So thank you, Brock.
You're welcome. I try.
You could at least be like YouPorn and refresh whenever you click the YouPorn badge, and then you have a new top 6 of the most rated videos.
This is true. I don't have that.
So besides that,
Did I say that?
does anyone think this is going to last more than 6 months?
No, I mean,
I
this is
think it's going to last more than 6 months.
it's going to last a year.
You think it's going to last 6 months?
No,
Or more?
I think it's going to last a year. I agree.
I agree
Yeah,
with Seth.
same.
Well, it's only going to last 6 months because it's going to double ship.
Right. Well, sure. 24 issues. Well, they had on Comic Book Resources, they had a poll that was like, "Oh, how long is this going to last?" And it was like, it was like
6 to 12.
It was like 6 to 12 issues,
13 to
12
24.
13 to 24, 25 to 50, or forever. And a bunch of people were like, forever. And I'm like, you're the stupidest people on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I don't think they were serious about that.
I don't know. Like, it's a perfectly fine story arc. It doesn't need a reboot. Doesn't need a renumbering. Doesn't need all this crap. Doesn't need an $8 book with horrible, horrible backup features. Horrible. Did you try to read those?
I read them.
Terrible.
I read the
they were
middle
bad.
one.
Terrible.
Can I tell you what's going to happen?
Horrible. What's up?
So Peter Parker is actually going to jump into Mary J's body,
Hey, now.
and then it's going to be the superior Mary Jane, and she's going to just have girl and girl action all the time without powers.
There you go.
And
It
we're going
doesn't
to
take powers to have girl and girl action. Also, did you see the picture? Dan Slott on Twitter is hilarious. Did you see the picture he retweeted from one of his fans sending a picture of his ASM 700 in the toilet?
So I did.
It was awesome. That guy's legit on Twitter. He's like Teflon to all the shit that people throw at him.
People
Yeah.
it's such gigantic overreactions from people. I just don't understand. I don't understand what anyone thinks. Does anyone think any of this shit's going to last forever?
No, I mean, the whole thing with this is Dan Slott is a huge Spidey fan.
He's a troll, is what he
He's
is.
a troll, but
he's
also,
an internet troll.
He's also a Spidey fan, but he's not a Peter Parker fan, I don't think.
How does that work?
I don't know. I think he loves Spidey, but doesn't care so much about Peter Parker, because this is obviously...
he's Black Cat?
Yeah. This is a story of Superior Spider-Man will be the story of what it takes to be, or what it means to be Spider-Man. Now, it could go one of two ways. Either Doc Ock really tries to be Spider-Man, or he rallies against the establishment and just becomes a bad guy. Either way, it's what it takes to be Spider-Man.
Well, what's going to happen is in 6 months, Doc Ock's going to start going, wait, I'm having these visions of Spider-Man. Oh, Peter Parker's coming back. His personality is becoming dominant. And then they're just going to have him oust his body into some other young clone, and there's a 25-year-old Doc Ock running around in the comics. I mean, this is exactly what's gonna happen.
Spider-Man's wasn't it Dracula? Wasn't like a Mobius let out from jail? Isn't that happen at the same time?
Yeah.
There's gonna be some kind of like soul fucking transfer or some bullshit, just
right.
like during the others.
So I was talking to this a little bit before we started recording the podcast. And so I'm sure there's going to be some magical doohickey device that's going to explain why this can't happen. Maybe there even was in Avenging Spider-Man 15, which I didn't read because the book's dumb. Wolverine would be able to walk up to Peter Parker and be like, "You're not Peter Parker. You're different."
No, but
Doc
it's still
Ock or Doctor
Peter Parker's body, right?
No. Doctor Strange would be like, "There's something in the astral plane. A spirit is hosting in a
Your
body
aura
that
is changed."
shouldn't be. Spider-Man, what's wrong?"
I'll believe the Doctor Strange one.
Reed
I'm not
Richards-
taking the Wolverine one. I'm sorry.
No,
Reed
I think-
Richards, hold on. Reed Richards walk up to Peter Parker and be like, "You're not Peter Parker," like without him saying anything. Iron Man, the second Peter Parker walks into Avengers Tower, all these devices from the Stark Tower are going to be like, "You're not Peter Parker. Something is different. You are not the same person that you were before." Fucking, there's a million ways this story could be resolved in an issue.
It's going to be a Spider-Man manhunt again.
I can see the Wolverine one happening because fucking Doc Ock is going to be eating like caviar and fucking goat cheese, whereas Peter Parker eats peanut butter and jelly. So Wolverine can smell his
your
shit.
diet has
like-
changed, Peter. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean,
You're pooping out different things, man. I know.
I'm actually more just thinking of Daredevil. I think Daredevil could spot it.
Daredevil was sent right. The one appearance of Superior Spider-Man, which is in the last issue of Daredevil, he's like, "I will defeat him." Blah blah blah, and the lady's like, "Wait, what? Like, you're not Spider-Man? What the fuck?" Like it's there's no rational way the story can go on for more than 5 minutes. Now, of course, you could say, "Oh, well, how can Batman be in the Justice League, or why is Hawkeye in the Avengers?" Like, these are stupid things. At least I can wrap my head around why some of this would exist. But a villainous plot of this nature makes no sense for any sort of long term. It's a cool 4-issue storyline, and that's what it should have been.
How long was
701?
Captain America dead?
Yeah, a couple of years.
How long was normal?
Well, technically not at all.
Yeah,
So-
but that's why I actually think it's going to last longer than 6 issues.
Well,
is
it'll
because
last
when they-
until the Spider-Man movie comes out next year, or 2014. So I'll give you a year and a half. That's 100 issues.
Maybe they'll pull Miguel out of the Ultimate Universe because those books are dying and transfer Doc Ock's persona into him.
That'd be great.
Who reads Ultimates? Anymore? Brock?
Exactly. I don't know. I don't.
So, I mean, going around, we've all read Spider-Man 700. I think we've all read it, or most of us have read it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad story.
No.
It's a fun issue. It'll be a cool arc, or it was a cool arc. I'm curious what they do with Doc Ock as Spidey.
The main problem I kind of had with issue 700, like, don't get me wrong, I actually really like the issue. I'm very excited for where they take it from here. But Doc Ock kind of, between basically Peter and Doc Ock's body and Doc Ock and Peter's body, they gave Mary Jane plenty of reason to question it. They gave the police chick plenty of questions. Like, everybody seems to just be like going, he's not acting like himself. I'm sure he's fine. And if they had played it a little bit differently where nobody else knew, I could... Like, that's the only thing that kind of bothers me is, like, all these people who should have been able to tell something was wrong were just dismissing it throughout the issue, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah, which is just, that's the only way they can get around it, is everyone just ignores that something is wrong. That's the only way it'll work, and that's just stupid. I mean, and the heavy emotional stuff was heavy-handed and cliche, because Dan Slott can do fun stuff, but he's not really so good on the deep emotional stuff.
My question is, what was up with everyone touching Peter Parker's face in that dream sequence? It's like every person he met, they touched his face.
It's just bad imagery. That
He has soft skin.
I don't know.
He was drinking breast milk, Brock.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing
What
wrong
do you
with that.
touch? Yeah.
Breath milk?
You touch
Breast-
someone's face
breast.
when they have
Nah.
nice soft skin.
Nice. So
another question for you, Ryan. Sorry. Is this the highest point in sales for Amazing Spider-Man since One More Day or whatever that awful book was called? I don't really know. I'm just wondering, in terms of sales for Marvel and for you, Amazing Spider-Man, is this the high point since that last big story arc?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Is it because of dollars or is it because it's actually units?
No.
Because I mean that shit was like fucking double the amount of a $4.99 book.
Yeah, it was $8.
Yeah.
No, I mean we sold a lot, and I have some more coming, and we have a lot of people kind of waiting to buy it. And man, I tell you,
The trolls.
I don't like to be insulting to anyone that gives me cash money, but man, this book brought in some winners. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I saw him in the back collaborating. Oh, this one, Humberto Ramos, the art is so good, the story is so good. This one will sell for way more on eBay. Oh, we should buy 3 copies.
Yeah. I fucking put a stop to that shit real fast. But there's others too. You came in during the scalper eBay buyers, which fuck that. I don't sell to those people. I 1 copy. That's it. That's all you can buy. But everyone else, I mean, it's like Death of Superman or any of these event books where it's like, you know, people that read the shit on the news come in and read a comic and they'll never read another one again. They don't care. It brought in some really terrible people that, like, I'm fine taking their money, but you'll never see again, right? I mean, and these events...
You'll see him again in like 10 years.
And these events tend to kind of do this thing a lot. Yeah, that's fine. These type of things tend to happen quite a lot with these guys, where they come in and it's like they're here for the one book and they leave. And like, I'm perfectly happy selling books to these people, but I wish there was some sort of long term like sale that, you know, they would actually pick these books up. Something else, like I didn't even really catch a good, like, there's a jumping off point for a Superior Spider-Man, but it didn't seem to be like, this is, I don't know. Like,
it wasn't a clear jumping on point.
Well, it wasn't. That's actually exactly right. It was an end issue, and so people come in, they're like, "Well, what else should I read? Oh, all these other issues were sold out of." Like, well, that's not any good.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, and that's the thing is they didn't like, especially with Avenging Spider-Man 15.1, they didn't really say, "Hey, you need to get this issue because it ties in directly with 700." They should have had that as the backup in issue 700. Like, that story in 15.1 should have been the backup in 700.
Yeah, but I mean, it should have been maybe one book. Like, this should have been 698, 699, and 700. One issue. That should have been issue 700. Giving people a starting and end point, and this is the whole story. Because, again, it's only part of an issue that we're just not even.
In terms of page count, it would be right, too.
Yeah, because,
out the backups.
And those backups were awful. Like, Boop.
Brock, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you? I thought when did you start reading Spider-Man books again? I thought you were off Marvel.
No. I read Marvel books.
Oh.
I don't buy them.
Oh.
So I didn't partake in the.
Nor does he like them.
I didn't partake in the schlucking out $8 for. I think it was like what, Seth, 54 pages.
He has the luxury of reading them and not buying them so that he can talk crap about them, but doesn't buy them so that he can say that he doesn't buy them.
Yeah, he pulls that shit where you go into the bathroom
It's the
and
burn
bring a
reading
book.
or
you bring a book and you read it and then you bring it right back out and put it back on the shelf, right?
Yeah, Ryan, how long till we become a Barnes & Nobles here, man?
Yeah, jeez. Hey, I'm all up for employees reading comic books, and they should know what they're talking about. But then you have Brock, so I know. Oh.
Yeah, right? Weekly Picks, exactly. George Costanza.
Yeah, your employees that are more cut up than you are. Mr. Issue 11.
You don't get no
fine.
weekly picks. I've been trying forever. It
It's
ain't
fine.
gonna happen.
Fuck that.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, we don't have podcast weekly picks at the stores, so well.
Well,
I don't know.
Overall, I know sales were did really well
sales
for
were good
this
on it.
book.
Yep.
And I think that's due to part of the hype behind it.
Sure, of course.
But yeah, like you said, this doesn't really give you like a jumping on point for other for people. This is more like a jumping off point.
Well, Superior Spider-Man is going to be the jumping on point, but I mean, yeah, I don't.
Well, it's like okay, they finished Uncanny X-Men, right? Which was a jumping off point for some people, but then they had Uncanny X-Men's coming back. It's renumbered, so you can kind of I'm just carrying over.
Here, let me just say something of substance really quick. So I haven't read any Spider-Man books for the last 5 years, and I read the last 3 issues, and I'm not going to read a fucking half-assed Norman Osborn fucking Dark Reign book for a year for it to be not even as good as seeing fucking Norman Osborn equate to fucking not only Captain America but also fucking Iron Man being the Iron Patriot for fucking and leader of the fucking the fucking US of A.
What?
And
You lost me.
Anyway.
Yeah, you
He's
lost everyone.
comparing the Superior Spider-Man to Norman
Iron Patriot,
Osborn.
okay, and it's just not going to be that good. So why should we even fucking think it's going to be good?
See, I'm not convinced it's not going to be a good read. That's like for me, just like I did definitely miss a big chunk of Spider-Man, roughly 100 and something issues between One More Day and basically when I finally got back on around about Spider Island or wherever. And there's definitely things I was curious about because I hadn't read everything they did with the Hobgoblin. I hadn't read him getting hired at Horizon and all that. But I actually think this is an okay jumping on point. I mean, they hit what they needed to hit with these final issues. Like, I hate to say it, but I almost equate the 698 to 700 as like the typical television pilot where you kind of get it around in different people's hands and decide, okay, are you going to now start watching this show or are you not going to start watching this show? Because they've already put out the pilot. Now let's see who comes back for Superior.
I agree with you because I jumped onto it, right? Yeah. So a lot of others jumped onto it like me that have been away from Spider-Man. However, in that 700 issue, they had an opportunity to not be a bitch and fucking have fucking Doc Ock succumb to Peter Parker's memories. They can do that for the fucking throughout the fucking maybe like mid-year. You know what I mean? But they've already shown how they're going to fucking make Peter Parker come back, like you pointed out earlier. And see, the thing about it is we can all throw out these like general talking points, but to talk about how they fucked up on it, I mean, I think it's important to bring up because they just
they already
let it go.
They gave you the out already.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was holy shit, Doc Ock is straight up posing as Peter Parker, and there isn't Peter Parker's memories floating around in Doc Ock's head, and every other issue it's going to be like, I know I'm Doc Ock, but really there's a part of Peter Parker inside of me. Mm-hmm. I'm slowly becoming better every day. I have to fight Peter Parker. And, that's just what the next year of Spider-Man stories is going to be. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, it could still be interesting, but, I mean, I want Peter Parker back, which is why I might stick around for Superior, just because that's how they're bringing Peter back. In a year or 2 years, it's going to be slslowly. That's where the clues are. Yeah. And I won't be lost at the end, like, oh, he's back. Okay, this is how he came back.
Someone actually I was talking to at the store, I think on Saturday, and he was like, I don't read a lot. He reads a couple comic books, but he was like, I don't read a lot of the superhero comics because it's just sort of, you're just going over the same characters over and over again, and you're not graduating. You're not moving to, characters aging and dying and getting replaced. You know, we're talking Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the main characters. And it's weird that there's sort of like this part of me that's like, that would be cool, but whenever they come up with replacement characters, they are hardly ever, if ever at all, as good or better than the characters they replaced. It happens. It's very rare, but it happens. But it's very, very rare that a replacement character is better than the character who they originally were. So I think I'm okay with certain characters getting replaced, but no one wants to read an ongoing Doc Ock Spider-Man book.
But
like, we all know this is temporary, and so it's like, it's this illusion of change. Why? I don't want to say why bother, but it seems weird to even suggest that this is some sort of ongoing continuity.
I agree with you, which I'll be the first to admit. I don't see Superior Spider-Man as an ongoing. I see it as a miniseries. I can't help it. It's just my mind equates this. It may be a 24-issue miniseries. It may be an 18-issue miniseries. It may be a 12-issue miniseries. But in my head, it's a miniseries. Just like, I mean, going into the new 52, we all kind of discussed this. When you do the relaunch at number 1 and everything, eventually certain things are going to start bleeding over from the old into the new. They're going to go back and go, well, we're going to be celebrating issue 1000. We have to renumber it back to it.
Yeah,
It's the nature of comics. Things change and rename and name back. And
well, but they always kind of return to the status quo. And DC will definitely bring some of the status quo back, just like they did after Crisis, just like all the original Golden Age characters eventually appeared in the Silver Age. Like, they're not going to let these ideas go away. But the thought that I would say most people that are reading American superhero comics do not want this level of permanent change. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm just telling you that the people that are currently reading, are the amount of people currently reading, would they get replaced with, you know, Miles, what's-his-face, as the ongoing permanent Peter Parker? Well, clearly the Ultimate books don't sell anywhere near as well as the current books. If he became the main Peter Parker, would there be this massive shift in audience and we get a giant ton of new readers? I doubt it. It's possible. I think we're just looking at comic sales being they just tend to trend downward, and we get this event and it trends downward, and it's just the amount of people reading books is just limited. You know, you get replacements with digital and trades, and a lot of people, money comes in from movies and TV and merchandising and stuff. But I mean, I think people just want these books to be something that they're not. And you have so many other books that can, if you want this level of change, you have so many independent books and so many graphic novels and so many.
It. I mean, they've done it. I mean, you know, Kyle Rayner was Green Lantern. You know, Hal was gone. They've done all the changes.
Right. No, they always have.
Well, they restored it all.
Well, and Hal was not the original Green Lantern. So, I mean, they have made these levels of change before.
It was Woody, right?
Woody, yeah. But they tend to not last, or they find some way to integrate both of them, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of me likes that stuff, though. I mean, that's why I always like the Bat Family, because they had a moving change, and except for Bruce, they did kind of grow. Yeah. And it's kind of like Bruce is always the same age, but everybody else is growing older.
But we have had, even the Bat Family has now stayed pretty stagnant in the last 30 years. You've had a few additions to it, but Nightwing...
That's because they keep wiping out Batgirl.
Yeah, Nightwing made the one change. Batgirl came back. Robin went through a few interpretations, but again, your Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America, the permanent change will never happen with those characters. So, trying to say that this is going to be anything longer than a short, quote-unquote, short term. 5 years is short term compared to the life of
But it's funny
Spider-Man.
to bring this up because, you know, I think Newsarama just had a thing about, you know, the top 10, or I think they have it all the time. It's the top 10 rebranding of superheroes. Yeah. And like 2 or 3 of those heroes are like Batman heroes. Like there's Nightwing on that list, Oracle with Barbara is on that list. I forgot who else. Maybe there's only 2, but yeah, it's kind of funny that Bat Family is in that change of origin, or change of, like, you know, what they were before. I think Red Hulk is on that one too. I don't know why.
Is this is just another Spider-Man story. It's not. I mean, it's not world changing. It's not status quo changing. You know, it's just the hype. That's all it is. Is the hype, the hype, and it's like you said. It's event book, it goes up, and then afterwards there's the downward slope.
All right. Well, no one cared 2 issues ago. No one will care in 2 issues.
Yeah.
Well, this is sort of like, for me, where it's sort of like this catch-22 in comics, because on the one hand, I really like sort of event books like Hush. where it's a nice self-contained story. It sort of uses what's great about the world and brings in sort of that level of quality. And then you go back to sort of like the Batman books. Like, I kind of view Hush as its own little thing. It's something I can hand to somebody and be like, read this. And if they manage to do something like that with Superior Spider-Man, like have this particular arc with this particular change where you can kind of go, okay, you can read this, and if it's all good quality, I'm all for that.
And that's what what those event books and those kind of specialized stories are supposed to do is attempt to catch a bigger audience. It's like cast a wider net, right? If we can cast a wider net, then we can get more people to come back and hopefully stick with the reading. But again, it's like comparing Hush to comparing the Superior Spider-Man. Well, for me, which everyone already knows, I'm not going to go here. You need to read Superior Spider-Man, because to me, it's not. It's a story that's already kind of been done before.
But you also haven't read Superior Spider-Man yet.
Yeah, I did. He was in Daredevil. And he was in Avenging Spider-Man 15.1.
Well, here's one of the things that's interesting is if you look back for comic book sales, a lot of characters tend to stay pretty stable unless you have. It tends to be more a creative team shift than necessarily a character story arc shift, although clearly that does happen. In the case of like Batman for years, you get your Hush arcs where it's a creative team change. That's what causes the increase in sales. The Dark Knight movie coming out does not budge the numbers on a Batman movie Batman comic one number. Like, it doesn't move at all. That has nothing to do with it.
But does it budge graphic novel sales significantly?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. But it doesn't have anything to do with the monthly comic books. Not at all. So your big changes for comics is always going to be the creative team. You get guys, previously, let's say Batman was selling 40, 50,000 copies. It's always going to sell 40 or 50,000 at the lowest of low ends. You can put anyone on a Batman book, and it's on Batman, the Batman title, and there will be 40,000 people in the United States willing to pick that book up, regardless of who's doing it. You put Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder on it in the middle of the giant relaunch, and suddenly you're moving 120,000 copies every issue.
But that, because it was relaunched and because people came to the book and realized you had the quality, like, to me, the big difference between sort of like what you got with Hush is you had people who were already well defined within the industry. Scott Snyder was still pretty well known before the.
But what I'm saying is it's part of the relaunch, but the creative team is what causes people to stick around. No one that hasn't read the last 3 years of Dan Slott's Spider-Man is going to stick around past the first 2 issues of Superior Spider-Man. You'll get a few, but to move the needle in any significant way, it's not going to happen because the creative team's the same.
But sort of like what happened with the Batman Scott Snyder, what happened? Black Mirror sales went through the roof because
people went back, right?
Exactly. So if Dan Slott can basically take this opportunity to tell a good story and get people excited on what he did, they have a huge library of Dan Slott Spider-Man to go back to now.
But 100,000 people that are reading 700 over the 50,000 people that were reading 699, those 50 or 60,000 people are not going to go back and buy his trades. No. They're not. A couple, a few, maybe 1,000.
And the thing is
that's it.
And the thing
you're not going to move You're not going to move a 2-year-old Spider-Man trade just because Dan Slott's writing it.
Well, and the other thing is Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos, the people, like you said, that have been reading Amazing Spider-Man, if they are not liking this, then they're off. And they're like, well, we've been reading Dan Slott and Humberto for 2 years now. We're done with it. We're tired of Spider Island and all these little stories, so this is where they jump off.
Right, but if it's any positive increase in trades, any 10%, 5%,
sure,
in trades, that's a great.
You mean
thing.
the ones that Marvel's going to OOP like in 2 months?
Well, and also I got to
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Big Ultimate Collection for the big time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these sexy omnibuses over here. I'm seeing a Dan Slott Superior Spider-Man omnibus coming your way
in the future.
And let's just say too that I've seen a majority of hunters prior to when Dark Knight Rises came out look for that Vengeance of Bane book. Yeah. Because prior to that movie fucking coming out, the Vengeance of Bane book was being sold for $1. Yeah. Now it's being sold at most comic stores for $20 to $30.
Yeah.
eBay for $40.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And it's a cool thing. I know it's temporal.
Is that not
in the standpoint of
that hasn't settled down yet?
It's still pretty high.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Yeah. And how long ago did that movie come out?
Shouldn't be that shocked.
Year and a half, 2 years?
Well, I'm just shocked because I would have expected it to level off by now, considering the movie came out.
Dark Knight came out like 6 months ago, dude.
Oh, 6 months ago. I'm sorry.
Well, the Blu-ray just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to give it more time than that. I see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
the Blu-ray literally just came out, a week or two?
Well, here's the problem. So that's actually a perfect example of a book that price is actually probably pretty accurate, because there's a lot of times where books just people kind of forget that they're around there, and especially when you hit the late 80s and 90s, there's a lot of these books, the quality on these books are not great. A lot of people have trashed them. You kind of look back like what happened like in the 60s and 50s where people were kind of getting rid of these books. The 90s, every book from the 90s got thrown in quarter bins because people ordered 1,000 copies of every issue. And so there's a few that I've actually found that these are actually getting harder to find. In the case of something like A First Appearance of Bane, he's a pretty major character. This book deserves to actually go for a little bit of money. Something like Teen Titans #2, which was the first appearance of Deathstroke. 10 years ago, I was pulling those out of quarter bins. It's now a $50 book because it kind of clicked. Oh, yeah.
It should be.
This is an important book.
New Mutants 98, baby.
That's another one. That was always a $5.
You must like that one.
$5-10 $5-10 or at most. Suddenly it's a $200 comic.
I just pointed to Charlie.
It's come down, but it's come down, but yeah.
Deadpool, when he was great.
Oof. So Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk Superior Spider-Man when it comes out. We'll talk some more stuff. So I figured
let's talk about exciting shit. When people started waking up, when we started talking about Batman and DC Universe, that was exciting to me.
Well, how about this? Since the end of 2012, a lot of people like to do their top lists or whatever. We have no order to this. We have no amount that you.
Bryce is ready.
Bryce is ready. He brought notes. This isn't top 3. Everyone, give me your best, your worst, what you liked, what you didn't like. We're talking comics. We're talking comic movies. We're talking video games, TV shows.
Wow, that's a lot.
We're just gonna let this.
We're just going to let it ride?
Just let it ride.
Ride or die.
Bryce is ready. So I want to hear. Bryce got a list. It's all written up. So let's.
Ooh, mama. I've got a list, Ryan.
Let's start there.
I would like
to
talk about my list. And I won't even get that far through my list before I get interrupted by all of you guys.
It's fine.
So,
you're welcome.
The first on my list, I have my list.
And I want to say, by the way, no, I'm kidding.
We're doing Bryce first, so Marvel actually gets a shot at things.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Brock, for continuing to be a douche. I have my list divided into 3 parts. I have my non-Marvel books that were good.
This is the Hobbit list?
Definitely not. I have my Marvel books that were great in 2012, and I have my books that I am looking forward to reading that were great, allegedly, this year that I haven't gotten to yet. So, first of all, non-Marvel books. It's a very short list. Fatale and Saga. First of all, Saga. My wife just had a baby this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Loving Saga. I don't know if that factors in. I think that it factors in. By the way, great book. Amazing book. By all accounts, has been amazing. Fatale, I was just saying, it's sort of like, oh, God, it's just really, I really want to love it. I was describing it earlier as this book that you really know should be, it's really a classic, but it's just not.
I'm sure you're being fooled like most of the world. Most of the nation have jumped off the book because they realized it wasn't Bendis, it was his buddy that was just ghostwriting for him.
Yeah, well, that's probably what's going on. Because
Fatale? Fatale is Brubaker.
I'm just talking shit. I don't know.
Okay.
I figure anything that comes out of his mouth is Bendis. So.
Only 90% true.
Bendis goes in his mouth, not out of his mouth.
All right, well, we can't...
that was good.
Oh, Ryan. Is this a new Ryan for 2013?
Grant Morrison doesn't have 2 cocks, Ryan, so sorry.
Right.
Anyway, so Fatale, love it. Love Brubaker. Wish it was Bendis. No, but I'm sure that it is great. I read it and I'm like, oh, God, I know that this is good. I just can't get behind it that much, even though it comes so
your second favorite non-Marvel book of the year you don't really like?
Well, I mean, how many new ones? All right, so the other one that's on the list, Walking Dead. I know it's been around for years, but let's be real. 2012 was really the year, as far as I can tell, that Walking Dead really sort of came into its own. The TV show started really picking up. I mean, really. I mean, there's only been, about 12 issues of Walking Dead that have come out this year, but this is like... I read the first compendium this year.
Well, as people... I'm going to interrupt you for a second. As people are discussing, I actually started to look through to see some big stories of the year to kind of see where they are now or what happened. But 2012 there was big stuff, but nothing like, whoa, this is a this is like the big comic news of the year. There's movies and there was some cool stuff, but so I will occasionally, if we were talking about something, I'm going to interrupt. So in the case of Walking Dead, again, interrupt you here. That number one comic of the year, Walking Dead number one, or 100, I'm sorry. Sales wise for the comic industry. Well, also for the store, our highest selling comic of the year was Walking Dead number 100. So there you go. It's a little tidbit for you.
That's Walking Dead's a great example of one of those one of those rare books that actually single issues readers, it picks up single issue readers as it's gone on. Like you're ordering more now than you were last year, right?
A little bit
more.
Our numbers actually fell after 100.
They did.
Yeah. They did.
Okay.
Is the pickup not because of the show too? Though I kind of feel like
the trade pickup is amazing.
Sales were going up. Walking Dead is literally the only comic that has pretty much increased in sales month to month since the book has come out. Numbers, I mean, obviously 100 doesn't count because that number is ridiculous. But it picked up a bit during the show starting, but the single issue sales didn't really go up that much until more recently because people were buying the trades, not the single issues. Now the people are caught up in the trades. Now a lot of people have converted over to the singles. So the single numbers are actually going up at a faster rate. Okay. Our sales on Walking Dead trades have actually kind of leveled out or gone down a lot recently, but I've talked to some stores that are still really high, so it's just locally.
Well, you've been selling the compendiums very well.
I sold a decent amount of them. I sold a lot of compendium number one. Yeah. I've not sold as many number twos as I thought I would.
Question. Why the fuck are those Walking Dead books still in fucking black and white?
Because that's how they're awesome.
It's supposed to be.
It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It adds to the read.
The show's
like how Sin City should not be in color.
Just
that's
really?
accurate.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool analogy. I like it.
Yeah, when we were
It's like Schindler's List, Omar.
When we had the Walking Dead 100 party, we put the first season on in black and white, and it looked fine.
Yeah.
Huh. And aren't they redoing them all?
Yeah.
And relighting and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I don't know. I think Scott Pilgrim is better in color, so whatever.
Well, this is me just thinking, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we start seeing the Walking Dead issue 1 in color. Issue 2 in color.
I actually hope
just
not.
to sell to you.
Another way to sell it. People would buy it.
Walking Dead in 3D.
I tell you, you know what? I hate to say it. Nothing against Omar here, but there's a lot of people that don't buy indie comics because they're black and white.
Let's be honest, and a lot of it has to do with the economics of it. But the fucking Walking Dead is a big enough brand to fucking
but the black and
afford
white adds
that.
to the story, though. It's all like kind of grayish kind of world, and things are kind of down, and it just adds to the story.
I tell you, if they, you know what? I didn't buy the Walking Dead weeklies because they're just single issue reprints or whatever. If they did a color version of Walking Dead and released the issues by issues, I'd order a lot of them. I'd sell them. So there you go, Image. There's your freebie. Release Walking Dead in color.
MU Image, says Ryan Higgins.
So,
if you do that, you have to credit Omar.
So continue, Bryce. What's your? Let's see your top Marvel list.
I don't want to drag this down too much with my shit. Anyway, so my top 5 things that I'll go through really quick, and you can take pot shots at me that are Marvel related. Or actually, there's one that's not. Sorry, Avengers vs. X-Men. It should have been titled the fucking Dark Phoenix Saga Part 2, or it should have been retitled something.
It should have been called The Phoenix Returns.
It should have been The Phoenix Returns. It should have been retitled, but that story, to me, I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. Number 2, actually, this is really number 1. Uncanny X-Force, Remender, 2012? Are you kidding?
Agreed.
This was an amazing book.
Last year and this year. I mean, it's been around for 2 years.
It was last year that it started, and I think actually Dark Angel Saga, which is picking up in Uncanny Avengers number 5, pick it up, was amazing. And so while that was last year, technically, I think that, this year obviously it came to an end, I think just a week or 2 ago.
One of the rare cases,
it's been a great book.
One of the rare cases, where I will agree with the internet and say it is one of the better Marvel books being published that doesn't sell as much.
Rare, he'll agree with Bryce.
Except for those few issues with the shitty art.
Oh, that was really bad.
Fuck Tocini. But Remender plus Opeña plus Noto, incredible.
It was fine. You're hating on it. It was just fine.
All of those books just need to be thrown in the toilet, just like that fucking picture that was sent.
You should look it up. That picture is fucking hilarious.
It is.
In the toilet.
Anyway, so
Uncanny
should
be fired.
Finished its arc in 2012.
Yeah.
So hats off to Remender for fucking doing a great job with that.
And suddenly I'm thinking omnibus.
Kind of dark horse for the Marvel books, Wolverine and the X-Men. I think that out of the 12 issues this year, there have been out of the 12, I think that at least 6 of them have been amazing, or at least shockingly good when we didn't see them coming. And so I think that Wolverine and the X-Men by Jason Aaron reserves a special shout out for just being sort of the coming out of nowhere good stuff. Sort of going hand in hand with the Avengers versus X-Men.
Again, Bryce, I'm going to sit here and tell you another one of my favorite Marvel books.
Not surprised. It was amazing. And sort of going hand in hand with Avengers vs. X-Men. They didn't really have much to do with the whole AVX story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, out of the AVX story comes the Cyclops as a villain, teaming up with Magneto. Something that, like, a year ago, I would have sat here and not seen coming a mile away. And is now an awesome.
It makes perfect sense now.
It makes perfect sense now, and it's now doing this great this great story for all new X-Men, which I think is great. And Brock and Ryan shockingly disagree, but I think has been very good, and I can't wait until Uncanny X-Men comes out and sort of builds on that. Anyway, I won't go into too much of that. Thank you, Omar, for
Well, here's my thing with Cyclops the villain. I get where he wants to go. I get that he's like, hey, look, the Avengers are willing to screw us over. But Magneto and the White Queen in recent years have come much more onto the side of the X-Men and been basically good guys.
Right.
What the White Queen and Magneto, well, okay, I shouldn't say that about Magneto. The White Queen doesn't give two shits about the mutant race in general. I mean,
Emma Frost only cares about Emma Frost.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
She loves Cyclops.
Yeah,
it's been 10 years that she's expressed her love for Cyclops.
He bitch slapped her down in AVX. She doesn't remember that.
I think she actually she liked it.
He needs some.
That was a little Hellfire.
Dude.
He brought a little HFC on that motherfucker.
You don't wear lingerie to fight the X-Men unless you're into some shit.
But yeah, Cyclops and Magneto going villains, more villainy. It's just not.
Magneto doesn't make sense. Like Cyclops, I can understand because he's kind of been. It's been building up in him for a while. Magneto, it's kind of like. There's an on and off switch with him, and it's like it doesn't make any sense, especially since all the stuff that was happening with Utopia and him helping rebuild, and him trying to integrate, and they're still not sure of him, but he's trying to do his best.
Dude,
the way I see the Magneto thing is because of Utopia and everything. Magneto was basically being covered under diplomatic immunity, basically when all that stuff was going on. Well, diplomatic immunity went out the window with AVX.
Yeah.
So
Professor Xavier died for the 7th time. Goddammit! I think Magneto would go back to his roots.
No, you know what it is, and it was in an issue of All New X-Men. He's just following Cyclops around because he wants Cyclops to fix his powers.
How do you know this stuff? I thought you don't read.
He reads them all.
I read that.
You're such a closet Marvel lover. You really are. You should just come out, bro. Just come. You feel better, bro. Just come on.
Why the fuck are you touching?
Just come out.
Mars holding Brock's hand. Anyway, so look, I think that Magneto was always sort of choosing the best path for mutants, and when all the mutants were wiped out, he joined the X-Men because it was like, oh fuck,
sure.
The ugly girl of the party is still the ugly girl of the party, but she's the only girl of the party.
I don't disagree. No. I get why Cyclops and Magneto are doing this. It's just.
Well, I also kind of like that there's a young gun now, right? Magneto's like, there's a young guy that's going to do it. You know what? That's what I wanted to do. So it's kind of like seeing your kid fulfilling what you wanted to do but never actually got to do. Yeah.
Here's the one side of it that I don't really understand. After AVX, I kind of decided to paint this as this was a mutant problem, and they're going out of their way to make it sort of seem like mutants are hated and not hated at the same time. It's like things are stressed, but Wolverine School is still a safe haven.
We for the first time in years we have the return of the actual evil mutants because they basically all mutants were given basic immunity since Graham Morrison's New X-Men. When they're like, oh, there's a million mutants and there's Genosha, right? That they ended up blowing up where they were all living.
Cassandra Nova, Tri-Sentinel, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Graham Morrison.
I loved his, some of his stuff. Don't like Frank Riley.
I just, as of right now, they've explained a lot in words of how now's not necessarily, they're so busy saying now's a great time to be a mutant and now's a horrible time to be a mutant that I can't really, every time we've seen Magneto and Cyclops and Merv, they seem to be overreacting.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I was reading, when I came back
I like the idea of Cyclops and Magneto being sort of edgier, rescuing mutants, and it's just that overreacting side that I don't understand at this point, especially coming from Cyclops and Magneto and the way they've
Cyclops
evolved.
should be a little more calculated.
Well, and this is the other weird thing is ever since House of M and the reduction of mutants across the whole planet, you have this sense of, okay, we're hating minority, and it's kind of a reflective of what's going on with the gays and marriage and all that stuff in our society today. And when they go to
please stop.
What?
I want to hear him finish his train of thought. Can I just hear him finish? I want to see where he's going because I don't think he has any gay friends at all. So
for 2012, we need one last Brock
moment. One last Brock moment, please.
Well, the thing is they when they went to San Francisco and they had that break from the Xavier Institute and they were coming over to San Francisco, a place that harbors these people who think.
Oh God!
What is wrong with you guys?
Let him finish. This is
Jesus.
This is funny. Let him finish. Come on.
I mean, San Francisco's always accepted people for what they were. I mean, that's how it is.
Harbor.
Well, I'm sorry. It was Utopia. Was out in the bay on a place.
Oh God.
But you're getting some these stories that Cyclops is trying to work with government. He's trying to do all these things and so on and so forth to make a place for mutants as a safe haven because they are no longer in mass populations. So it goes to what you're saying, Charlie. It's like I don't understand. We like mutants, but we don't like mutants. But there's the amount of mutants to hate is so small that it's kind of blown out of proportion.
Who gives a fuck about Cyclops? He hasn't been relevant for a long time. Let's make him a villain. I'm fucking happy with him as a villain. Perfect.
Oh, dude,
all right, okay.
That's the most succinct review of 2012 Cyclops that I could have
Colorado is lately Superman a villain too.
Yeah. We did it to Spidey. Why not?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
All right, can I say one more thing?
One more thing.
It's the end of my list. This is Boom Comics. This is not Marvel.
Yes.
But Irredeemable, Incorruptible finished this year.
Yep.
While it was amazing at the beginning, it was not amazing at the end. It finished in 2012. Just wanted to give a shout out. I think that story arc in general was very good.
We went a little too long.
Way too long.
Was that Wade?
Yeah.
Wade,
Yeah.
yep. And that it should have been half as long, if that. But anyway, I think that what he did was really cool for Boom and made Boom, the fourth top, of course, Marvel, then
he's
DC,
up
then
there.
Image, then Boom.
Well,
maybe
Irredeemable,
Dark Horse, Valiant, then Boom. Like, it brought Boom up from nothing.
It did. He did.
Well, Irredeemable and Incorruptible are on my list of stuff to read and trade. So it's a lot, and that's what I hear a lot of people saying. It's the beginning is really amazing, but it kind of drags.
Totally great. But I just wanted to give a shout out since I wasn't on 2011's year-end podcast.
It's fine. Hey, you know what happened in 2012? Speaking of comic books and speaking about comic book podcasts,
The world ended, and we're
Both
still here.
Omar-
we're actually all dead. We're on an island. That moves.
Omar became an official member of the podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
And Bryce has become an almost as official as a sixth chair can get on the podcast.
Yeah,
so there you go.
He's our official Marvelite.
Yeah, we
Official
got
Marvelite.
We got two
I'll
new
take it.
members.
Somebody's got to like Marvel.
We're like the X-Men. We started with just a few people, and pretty soon there's going to be like 400 people screaming into the mics.
And then we're going to start having the gold podcast and the
blue podcast. Then one of us is going to go evil.
We'll be like Sam Guthrie and Roberto Acosta in the beach.
DaCosta.
God, my bad.
Racist, Omar.
It's like Mexican, whatever the fuck. Acosta,
he's
DaCosta.
Brazilian, but
He's
okay.
here. Okay, so fucking cheery. Fuck, we don't need to be part of X-Men. Avengers, yeah, we're gonna get some pussy. Woo!
So
First of all, that was relatively hilarious. Second of all, you said that Avengers 2 was
aren't
no
those two
good.
guys gay?
Avengers
Incredible.
Avengers 2 was
settle down.
Avengers 2, I'm not going to have as long a diatribe about Avengers 2, but you said it was no good. I loved Avengers 2. It
was fucking
It
awesome,
explained
man.
everything that you complained about in the last podcast.
It was not good. It was boring. It was just more of the same.
Avengers 2 was basically just, hey, we need a bigger team.
It was the
Hey,
exact
we
same
need
as the
bigger
first
team
issue.
Again.
No,
Yeah.
but it explained everything that you were complaining about.
No.
Listen, this is the problem with men of these days. Okay, so women, they want to be talked to. It's like I watched this incredible movie
the
last
fuck
night at like
podcast
2
are we
o'clock
on?
in the morning called Bucky Larson. Like he was like, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Anybody with the last name Larson,
Yeah,
they're
it
good
was
in
like
my
Bucky
book.
Larson is this dude with buck teeth, and it was like Christina Ricci was in it too. It's like one of those late night movies, but just like, wow, just gotta be a nice guy. You don't have to have a big old schlong. It was like,
What if your last
incredible.
name is
Okay,
last name?
But it does help.
Okay. Anyway. So who else has a list? Comics, movies, TV, anything?
I want to hear it from Seth.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll go. This is kind of off the top of my head, but I'm going to go with comics. Let's say Earth 2.
Hell
I think
yeah.
it's been a really good kind of reimagining of a lot of the old JSA characters.
Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. TV, I'm going to have to go with Arrow.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that's been really solid. I mean, it's a different take on the character. It's darker. He kills when he has to, but
That's not a
it's-
different take.
Well,
I mean, superheroes don't generally kill in the comics.
this
But
is this
Green
is
Arrow
kind of
has
a
been known too.
Yeah, but this is a little more.
Oh
This-
no, I agree with you.
It's a different take for TV, I'll give you that.
For mainstream, yeah.
It's up.
Yeah. And Ryan's going to hate this, so I'm doing it on purpose. But movie-wise, I liked Amazing Spider-Man.
I'm with you.
I know.
Thank you.
too.
Fuck you, Ryan.
There you
Okay.
go, there
That's
you
fine.
go.
That's fine.
So I think it was really interesting. I love seeing the Lizard. I love getting a little more of his kind of emotion with the character, both dark and both humorous when he was wisecracking. And
Yes, yes,
little
keep
bit,
going.
little bit going in with his parents. And I mean, there were some things that bugged me. But
What? Get out of this podcast now.
Some small things, but overall, we got web shooters.
You know,
We got fucking web shooters.
exactly web shooters.
there you go.
You know, Seth. And one other thing I agree with you on is seeing the lizard talk, and it's a lizard talking. That's going
Right.
to prepare us for Smog.
Yes.
In The Hobbit 2 or whatever the fuck it's going to be
Goomba
called.
for Super Mario Brothers.
Exactly. Right? No, because like the villains should talk. Why should they just be silent and sinister? I want to hear their fucking jokes too.
Yeah.
I like
Exactly.
Amazing too.
Other comic book movies that came out this year, we should mention:
Oh, just Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises,
Well, of course.
The
Dark Knight
Avengers,
The Avengers.
Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance,
That's a
Ghost
joke.
Rider.
Judge Dredd, which I haven't seen yet, which I heard is awesome.
It's the Raid.
I still want to see it.
Retitled.
Did I miss any? Oh, that's all the big ones, huh? That's all
Those
the
are
real
the big ones.
Those are the real ones.
Yeah, the top moments for me for movies in particular, because you're bringing in movies and I see
Yeah.
an angle to
Let's
just
do
jump
it.
on in.
Yeah, do it.
Is the fucking fight scene between Catwoman and Batman and all the minions to get their ass kicked. That totally
On
felt
top
like
of the-
on top of the rooftop.
rooftop,
that
yeah.
felt like to me
I felt
right out of
your
Hush.
hard on.
Yeah, like that.
Felt it in
That
my
was
house.
like that was my scene.
I felt
like-
your hard on knowing that you were in a theater going, oh.
You're all there's a virgins in the force. Like you felt that shit, right? You go, yeah.
So-
anyways, that scene, and then of course Thanos. I mean, how can you not deny
Yeah.
that scene?
Yeah.
Those two scenes for me were like the top two biggest moments, at least in big.
Well, so besides those two, I mean, we have Avengers, we have Avengers, we have Batman, right? I mean, nothing else is. I mean, clearly, Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance is number 3, but we'll ignore that for now.
It was pretty shitty.
That was fucking amazing. It was the best. It was the third best comic movie this
know,
year.
bro.
No doubt.
Still haven't seen it.
It was the best thing I've ever
I
seen in my
saw
life. It was
parts
incredible.
of it at my
was
girlfriend's
really
dad's.
It was
and
incredible.
It was like shit.
It was incredible.
Ryan is talking about a Marvel movie.
I am Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance. Amazing.
Would you stop?
I haven't even
trolling?
seen it. Have you really seen it?
I have. I saw it in the
can't tell
theater.
if you're fucking tugging my dick right
No,
now.
I saw
it
it
was
in the
like the
theater.
worst shit ever.
There was like 4 people
He's
in the
trolling.
theater. It was it's
Fucking troll.
It is. It'll be looked upon in 1,000 years as the genius of the 21st century. Okay?
Ryan is like the most Filipino white person I know because he tries to like all the shit that's not cool.
It is the funniest movie I've seen
that's
this year.
right.
Ghost
I think-
Rider was pretty
See,
good.
there
Ghost
we
Rider
go.
was like the
It's-
spirit funny. Ghost Rider was the spirit funny.
Yeah, the
Okay.
spirit. I still have, despite not seeing the spirit, it's been so long. I mean, I still don't know what I think of that movie. Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance, I pretty clearly came out and went, "That was incredible." That just Avengers, Dark Knight, step aside. Ghost Rider, no. Okay. So Ghost Rider side. So Avengers and Batman. Let's have this out.
Well, I think it. I think it
Who we giving the year? Who we giving the award to?
Well, I think it just depends
Avengers.
on. I think it just.
What?
Avengers. But apples and oranges, though.
Who we giving the Comic Conspiracy 2012
Fucking Dark
best,
Rises,
Avengers.
best comic
No.
movie?
Well, hold on. I think it really depends on an individual taste. I mean, Avengers was amazing.
Yeah, for good meme.
Come
bad
on,
movies.
we already did 3 votes for Avengers. Where are you like?
So the answer is Dark Knight. Thank you,
Yeah,
Shirley.
exactly.
Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
The answer is Ghost Rider:
no.
Spirit Avengers.
That is acceptable.
Because the thing is it's do you like the culmination that happened with Avengers in the build up and so on and so forth, or do you like that we got,
Or do you like a good movie?
or we got a solid end to a good franchise, and even for me, The Dark Knight tops it because I really enjoyed the little nuances in it with the homages to the older ones and the homages to all of the Batmans, so to speak. So it was kind of, for me, a nice kind of.
Well, the difference here is the difference between fun and quality.
Okay, Omar, you're the
Good
tiebreaker.
quality.
You're the tiebreaker.
And
both quality.
Tiebreaker for what?
The three of us
Whedon just
are
called and he's fucking
Avengers.
pissed at you,
The three of
Higgins.
them are Dark Knight Rises.
You're the tiebreaker.
You're the tiebreaker.
So one's better than the other?
What
That's
is
the thing, it's apples and oranges. It's
What
not
is
fair.
the comic?
What
The comic
gets the
conspiracy 2012 comic movie of the year.
It's so easy. It's Dark Knight Rises.
There you go.
Dark Knight wins. At the table.
I mean, it's like, this is the thing. You get to not only see the rooftop scene that not many people celebrate and glorify, which is fucking incredible. You see him jump into the Batwing. It's not the Bat. It's the Batwing, okay? Just so you fucking know. The Batwing, okay? Fuck
So
you,
he's
Nolan.
jumping on the
Had no
Batman?
wings.
But it's a flying Batmobile. It's called a Batwing. Anyways.
Where does he?
Is it
Where does he
really
get
3 to
so
4 Batman
toys?
Rises?
Or the Batcopter.
Avengers is incredible. Avengers is
Yeah,
the
but
best.
the number 2 movie is Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, God.
You like Spider-Man more than Avengers?
Ghost Rider.
Hell no!
You like Spider-Man more than Avengers?
Yeah!
Really?
Wow.
Okay,
Good for
now
you.
you're
I think
gonna fucking.
Now
I think that he's
no.
trolling now.
Yeah, he's just
No.
lost all his cred.
Now it's 6 versus 1.
Let's just say
I don't care. I'll be the one.
again. I don't
I
need
put
to.
Avengers at number 3.
I don't need to say it, but obviously the breaking of the bat. See, not only now when I say the breaking of the bat, I'm not talking about Batman getting his shit smashed by fucking Bane. I'm talking about when fucking Bruce Wayne has that fucking drop jaw moment. He has no more money. He's like, remember that part of the movie? It's like no more money. He's like,
Omar just did a no-face twice.
Brock.
You guys
those of you that
guys
can't
need
see
to go
Omar.
watch
It's incredible.
There's these YouTube videos saying everything what's wrong with Dark Knight in like 3 minutes or something, and there's
Yeah.
one for Avengers, and I think there's one for there's one for Amazing Spider-Man 2. They're actually really funny.
The one for
hilarious.
Amazing Spider-Man involves, what was it, Main Street? Let's turn the cranes so that Spider-Man
it
can
did.
get to the
That's
visit.
That is
Worst fucking part of that movie.
Okay, hold on.
Ruined the whole movie.
I am not even joking. That scene, I almost walked out.
Me too.
I
Me too.
almost walked
I
out.
didn't even see it with Ryan.
Me too.
Right?
I'm a little corny, so I liked it.
New York comes together to help out. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, if this was
you,
Ghostbusters,
Sandy.
if this was Ghostbusters, and there was a giant Statue of Liberty walking down the street, then I get it.
And they move all the cranes.
Moving these cranes.
Even then, I don't get it.
You know,
Even then.
if Ghostbusters showed up,
Oh, Bart, he's crazier. Pluff.
That part of the movie was awful.
So Ryan, you wanted to ask me a question?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Brock, I heard you like some comic books.
Oh shit.
Well, let's hear your top list.
My top list.
Give us a few.
I think for independent books for 2012, it would have to go to probably, I'd say 3. Saga was really great.
Yeah, buddy.
Planetoid has been really good, even though it's kind of been late.
Very late. It's a good book, though.
And I've really enjoyed Peter Panzerfest as well. So I think this year, at least Image this year, had a good crop of independent books that came out. For DC, there's always the stuff that's in the bottom of my reading pile, which is like Green Lantern, Batman, and all that stuff. But I mean, the ones
The bottom is your top.
you're my
yes,
top,
yes.
yeah. So,
No, it's the bottom.
but I think the titles that I really enjoyed this year was I really enjoyed that Justice League International Annual that finished out the Justice League International.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed Suicide Squad and Resurrection Man.
Cool.
So as kind of the non,
Yeah.
like ones everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Toby. Tell us
Wait, but I will give a little Marvel love late in the year.
Okay.
Now,
Because Thor has been fucking amazing
Oh,
true
okay.
that, bro.
from the Marvel now.
It
Yeah,
has been great.
And the Indestructible Hulk is geared to go in a really good direction. I just hope they stop introducing him to one character and kind of having a story with them and kind of go in a direction with them. And Thunderbolts looks to be really good.
Good first 2 issues so far.
Yeah, all those have been really good.
Shit, world's going
I
under.
know.
The
I
new
don't-
Brock in 2013.
But hey, I don't buy them.
Brock will buy him in 2013.
Trades.
All right, Toby, give us what are you liking this year? Comics, movies, TV. Here's a few things.
Comics, I gotta give it up to Chris Yost and Stagman for Scarlet Spider.
Oh yeah.
I gotta give it up for.
I think you literally have like 4 of the biggest fans of that book in here, and to one of them being the most unexpected fan of that book, and that'd be myself. That book is really good.
It is
Hell yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Really?
Love Yost.
Yes.
Haven't been reading it, but I asked...
Yost has been awesome. Just Yeah, in all media too. His cartoons, his comic books.
Does anybody really watch cartoons?
Yeah.
Anyway, I asked
Half
Ryan
of the podcast
after a new X-Men or whatever
Actually, I
it was
don't
that
like
he
Ultimate
did
Spider-Man.
a while ago, and it was great. He did that great series.
I thought it was okay.
Okay, well,
I didn't really get
you're
into
in the
that.
minority. So I was like, Ryan, what has Yost been up to? And he says, Scarlet Spider. Toby's been reading it. And I've been, damn you, Toby, I haven't been reading it. Toby's like, dude, it's been fucking awesome.
It's awesome.
I haven't been reading it, but I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it is. It is way better than Spider-Man. I think.
Yeah.
Way better than the Mint Spider-Man.
I think Punisher was this year, wasn't it?
Yep.
A really good run in Punisher. I really enjoyed that.
Greg Rucka?
I know.
Almost over with Warzone.
I know Charlie will pick Daredevil, so I'll leave that one alone. In media, besides Dark Knight Rises, Avengers, and Amazing Spider-Man that I really like, I gotta also give it up to Arrow. I thought they did a really good spin on it. I really like the new touches, especially for a CW show. I didn't expect it, so it still has a little CW-ish in it, which I wish would go away. But hey, I'll take the improvements over Smallville. I definitely have to give it up to the second season of Young Justice. I wish it would still go on, but, all good things got to come to an end. What else?
Well, we should actually say that's another great news story from this last year. That DC and the Cartoon Network completely just put the brakes on the DC Nation in the middle of almost in the middle of airing an episode. They cut it like hours before the episode aired. It's supposed to be back this weekend, but we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts if it does.
That passion that I see behind that voice, it just sounds like you loved it so much that you're sad to see it go.
Sad to see the break go? Or sad to see the shows go? No, this is seriously one of the things that has infuriated me the most this entire year. It is one of the things that I'm just beyond pissed off at. Green Lantern and Young Justice.
They should go back to Saturday mornings, go on CW or something.
Yeah, the pair of them were incredible.
Yeah.
Especially Green Lantern really surprised me because how much I hated the first episode.
Yeah.
And I really turned to like that show. And I mean, I've bitched about this a few times in the past, but hopefully it's back on until it's done, and we'll finish them out.
Not only the shorts.
The shorts were great.
The shorts, also the fucking little side commercials with like the arrow. Like, let me see if this really works in real life. And the guy's like throwing don't try this at home. It's a fucking guy with throwing a batarang.
Well, it's
and
like
fucking goes through a watermelon.
Yeah. They started and then they just like crapped out on the shorts and they crapped out on the little things. And
they didn't really continue it.
Yeah,
but
that was sad.
Well, the Super Best Friends Forever, the Lauren Faust shorts were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
From what you guys have been saying, and I mean, you guys give me a tons of shit for not watching these things.
We shall continue,
and I know you will. But like from what you've been telling me, and like these shorts and all this stuff, like to me, it's like this is something that I want to experience with my children. Like I'd like to have this on a Saturday morning to experience with my children.
Fuck kids, watch it yourself, dude.
Yes, dude.
For adults.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
cartoons are for kids. You idiot.
You know the reason why Young Justice.
Yeah.
No, but the reason why Young Justice didn't work is it really.
But Charlie knows
it's
what he's
worked on
talking
people
about.
like us, but it didn't really work for the kids. Hence why they're going away really fast.
Ryan just loves steampunk lanterns.
Yeah,
steampunk lantern.
I know.
He can't wait for that episode on Saturday.
Yeah, Jesus.
But Young Justice is something they did where I literally they took all my favorite characters and they put them all in the same show. I mean, when second season came along, like Robin became Nightwing, and it's not.
Can I just continue? Can I start that as my highlights of the year?
Sure. And there's Batgirl.
Remember, we were
Wonder
sitting
Girl.
here in the same position.
Yes.
And I didn't watch that episode yet, and you were kind of like telling me about it. Omar, jump on that shit right
Yeah.
now. I fucking left my seat here during a podcast, and you guys remember this.
You went to the
and
computer,
I fucking
just
went to the computer
watched
to
it.
watch it, and I was just like gasming all over my gasm.
And Lobo is in that episode too.
Dude,
Well,
Lobo
for everyone that didn't like the new 52, for everyone that was like, where's my real characters, my real DC universe, you have Young Justice.
No, for sure.
Which was
Yeah,
incredible.
And it's funny because I loved the first season, but the second season went in such a direction where I'm like, holy fucking shit. I had like nerdgasm like every episode. I'm like, dude, this is so awesome.
No, to see the whole like Bat family, to see Barbara,
and it's
Tim,
different. I mean,
fucking
they
Dick
done
all
it. They
cruising
done
around.
it in the Batman cartoon, but this is so different. This is like totally like a Black Ops operation. Like Batman is like not even talking. Nightwing and Batgirl and the Robin are running in different directions.
And all those
totally
fucking,
in sync.
all those crazy ass fucking Korean animators that are doing that shit
They're
for us.
badass.
Props, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. Some soju to you, son.
They made Sportsmaster a badass.
Yeah, no, right? And he was like totally like, who's Sportsmaster? He reminded me of like fucking that guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
well,
yeah, Casey Jones, right?
Hey,
the last...
don't say anything bad about Casey Jones.
No, I'm just saying.
Casey
it's
is the
it
best.
was kind of tchotchke 80s shit.
This is another case of there are no bad characters, just bad ideas with these characters.
Totally
Sportsmaster, the Calculator, like two of the greatest villains in like modern DC Comics, and they're like some of the stupidest characters.
Crazy Quilt, Killer Moth,
They could do
Calendar Man.
Rainbow Raider.
Calendar. Oh,
Fucking Seth, I like this
Seth is
guy.
bringing that Wikipedia here.
Calendar Man. Calendar Man in Arkham Asylum is crazy in the
Arkham
game.
City? Oh God!
Yeah,
That's
Not
actually-
only in the
was that
game.
2011 or 2012.
It came out at
2011.
the end of 2011,
Yeah.
so
Ah,
you can
damn
kind
it.
of
Honorary mention 2012.
Well, because
Arkham
they've
City was
had
fucking
the
awesome.
expansion packs that you can play
It
as
came later.
as certain
The game of the year
characters.
came out this
Yeah,
year.
so it's 2012 game is what you're saying to me. Anyway,
I'll count it twice. That's fine.
Well, if
best
you wanted
fucking
to
video
unlock
game.
everything, I guess you would have had to play it through 20.
Yeah, you would have had to because Calendar Man you can't finish until like now.
I randomly get Facebook updates from Brock like, hey, it's Valentine's Day. No, I'm not doing anything for my girlfriend. But, hey, log into Arkham City to get Calendar Man to talk to you.
My girlfriend hates me.
Yeah.
So what's also so cool about Calendar Man is, I'm a big fan of HeroClix. And Calendar Man was made this year in
I should say
the Batman HeroClix.
Well, even though
Brock is in that.
a little more on a personal note, the Comic Conspiracy HeroClix Friday Night Game League started this year.
Yeah.
dude, it started in February. Remember when I
2012?
proposed that to you? You were like, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
First of all, Omar proposed. to
Omar
Higgins.
is straight up wearing a shirt he made for the league.
Yes, we do have a league. We have a tournament. We have fucking 15 to 20 fucking players. What's up?
Quick question: is that the first official Higgins plug for your Friday Night Clicks?
No,
he's
No,
not.
we talk about it a
No, we
lot.
talk about
He's done it before.
Yeah, but this is the first time Higgins actually did. So hey, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yes, then.
Yes, I appreciate that you fucking see the good in it. In the world.
All he sees is the dollar signs.
No, we're getting all these. We're getting all these.
No, he's just smiling. He's like,
We're getting all these kids off the
Omar's
street.
working for me
Ryan's
for free.
rubbing his hands together.
We're getting all these kids off the street. We're bringing them in, teaching them strategy and tactics.
I am
You mean the grown-ups?
I am paying Omar like hundreds and hundreds of dollars because of all the clicks he gets that he's not spending. He's not buying these crazy ass judge things on eBay. He can get them here for free for running the tournament. He's saving hundreds of dollars a month.
Yeah, I usually win them, but at other tournaments. But anyways, that's just trade fodder. So cut back to Calendar Man. Calendar Man, this is just an example of his powers on the game of HeroClix. One of his thing is odd. This is his like special power. It says odd days and even. Calendar Man can use stealth when the game begins on a day with an even numbered day of the month. Give Calendar Man a power action, and he can use like all these fucking powers. How fucking cool is that? And everyone that plays HeroClix, who the fuck is this Calendar Man guy? Is
exactly.
And that's like an example of
Calendar Man's great.
Appreciate Calendar Man.
Hell yeah.
Possibly the first HeroClick to break the fourth wall, Omar.
Yeah,
Would
I
be
think that's
correct?
what it is.
Thank
That's
you.
what happened. That's
Thank
just
you very
what
much.
happened.
Yes, I agree, Calendar Man. While I would love to say, I think that they soft pitched him a little bit.
Yeah.
Could have made him much
Okay,
more broken.
you're talking to a guy who has the Clock King on the front of our store window. So yes, I like obscure characters. He's our Clock King is our.
It's the really small thing that tells you when we're
The
open.
store
when
hours.
It should have been bigger, and I told him to print it bigger. He was like, nah.
Yeah, our store hour sign is the Clock King. It's amazing from
That's
the
fucking
DC,
awesome.
from Batman animated series, of course.
Okay, so let me continue. I'm back to comics. Judd Winnick, he's fucking one of my top fucking faves.
Too bad he's not
Catwoman.
writing any
What he
comics
did with Catwoman was fucking just blew me away. Obviously pairing them with Gillen March, and it was just fucking. And Tomo Mori, like one of the best colorists in the game. He did Detective Comics for a while. I think he's off it now because they have some. Actually, no, they have a good artist on it now. But you know how those fucking pencilers and inkers and colorists all like to fucking hang out together. What other books did I really like? I mean, I guess I'd have to go back to the creative teams to echo what fucking that Marvel fucking Cyclops cooking a turkey hat wearing motherfucker in the corner is Remender and Opeña blew me away.
Right?
It made X-Men relevant for me again. I remember the day when
agree.
I brought up all my comic books and was like, Ryan, I feel bad. Because I'm like one of those guys that feels guilty when I cancel a book. I'm like, Ryan, I feel bad. I have all these X-Men books I don't really read anymore. Can I cancel them? And then he's like, dude, get the fuck off the book. Let's fucking get some other shit that you can read.
Read what you like.
And you know what? I love fucking X-Men again, and it wants me to want to it makes me want to read other shit, but it's all Bendis, so I'm not going to read it.
This is so great.
Back to Batman. Fucking Snyder. He's a world builder, and what he did with fucking the Court of Owls blew me away. And like the hype is doesn't even like give enough substance to how incredible it is. You got to fucking read it. He really builds out Gotham City, and that's what I love. Is because Batman. It's not just about him and his characters and mythos. It's all about a fucking city, New York. Cool ass shit.
Well, this is, I'll jump in here with one of my picks. This is the year of Batman. If there's ever been a year of Batman, it's this year. Between Dark Knight Rises and between...
Besides 1989?
Well, but again, the comics were... okay. You have the original movie, plus you have Arkham Asylum came out that year, so good stuff. But this year, you have all the Return to Joker stuff, or the Death of the Family. You have the end of Court of Owls. You have Dark Knight Rises.
You have the big HeroClix sets.
You have the big HeroClix set. You have the Batman Dark Knight Returns Part 1 DVD. This was the year of Batman.
And 2013 is going to be the year of Superman.
Yeah. So, clearly for me...
It is. Well, we'll see.
Well, with the movies at least. Comic books they have to catch up.
Yeah.
There was some,
Snyder and Lee?
No, those will catch up. I'm talking action and Superman.
Yeah, I got faith in Andy Diggle.
I do too.
Batman for me...
Arrow? He's writing a book? No, I'm kidding.
Batman for me is DC's book of the year. It continues. It was a close call from last year, and this year it just it went off in the stratosphere. Like, it's not even close. So,
well, Green Lantern was holding it for a while.
Yeah,
like those titles were holding it, and Batman was kind of at the tail end of it. But this year, he overtook it.
Charlie.
So why not Aquaman, Ryan?
Aquaman's great. Hey. Aquaman's probably my number 2.
Sorry.
That was
allow Charlie to.
Yeah, Aquaman is probably my number 2. I think if the Atlantis, what is it, Rise of Atlantis, Throne of Atlantis arc had started a few months ago, Aquaman may be number 1. Yeah. That first issue, of Aquaman and Justice League were good.
So really, DC needs to get a third writer that's as good as Johns and Snyder.
No, they just need to clone a bunch of Jeff Johns and a bunch of Jim Lees and a bunch of Snyders
and Grant Morrison.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, nobody needs to clone Grant Morrison.
That ever. Paul Pelletier guy that's doing Aquaman is fucking sick. Yeah. What did he do before that?
A bunch of stuff that wasn't as good looking as this.
It's fucking incredible.
This guy stepped up his A game. It's kind of like when what's his face was on Cap. The heck was the artist on Captain America?
Epting?
Steve Epting. Yeah, it's like, wow, this guy used to be terrible. Really what happened? He
need a good inker.
He really stepped it up.
Well, and I think I like the transition because wasn't Rice doing Aquaman for a while?
Reese. Ivan Reese.
Yep. But the transition from that guy to this guy has been
pretty similar.
So it's not. We were talking.
Hey Bryce. Microphone.
It's Johns. It's not the art. It's Johns.
No, dude, Ivan Rice is fucking badass.
Yeah, but
Ivan Rice is fucking badass.
The only reason you're even talking about Aquaman is because of Jeff Johns.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
no, I was just making a mention about how the art transition from Ivan's to this guy's was. There was no it wasn't jarring. It wasn't like a Marvel book where they bring in some random person to fill in for Cassidy, who's already off, Uncanny. But that's beside the point.
I should have never brought Cassidy on to Uncanny, first of all, now that he's all hopped up on his Astonishing X-Men fame.
That is true.
Second of all, thank you, Ryan. Second of all, that's great that the art's good. The only reason Aquaman's selling anymore is because of Johns. And it's not.
No, it's not just because of Johns.
It's not the artist.
It's also because of Mira. Well, Mira, it's all about Mira. Fuck Aquaman. All these fucking panels with Arthur Curry. Push that guy aside. I want to see that ginger, fucking beautifully scaled, fucking woman,
and she's literally
aquakinesis bitch, fucking running shit. That's
hold on. But here's the thing. So Jeff Johns writes Booster Gold and only sells 25,000 copies. Brian Michael Bendis writes Scarlet. It sells like 15,000 copies. It's not always just the writer. No. In the case of Aquaman, there's people like Aquaman. The comics have just kind of always sucked. This is Aquaman done right. This is the right creative team, the right character. Right. They know what they want. Now, if someone else comes in, and is just as good, I think Aquaman sales will stick around. It's a case of something like Booster Gold. You have kind of a limited audience. The sales stuck pretty close to Johns' number when he left because the creative team that took over kept the pace, knew what they were doing, and until kind of the end, it stayed pretty similar. Johns could have someone else come in with the same sensibilities and keep this book, and as long as you keep a pretty A-list art on it, I think people will still pick it up as long as it keeps the same sensibilities.
No. How long was Johns on Booster Gold?
12 issues?
12 issues, yeah. And how long has he been on Aquaman?
16, 15.
And he's still going on Aquaman as opposed to Booster Gold where he dipped, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's actually establishing Aquaman like he did with Green Lantern in terms of a brand, which he did not do with Booster Gold, correct?
Yeah,
Sort of did.
he sort of did because they brought him in with 52. They brought him
and
in
then
with
launched
the
from
Infinite
52
Crisis.
to-
All right, so
Which is
what
all
I'm
him.
hearing from you is that
Not as well.
he dipped on Booster Gold, and then he's sticking around with Aquaman to make Aquaman his new Green Lantern. Is that more or less correct? Yes or no?
No, that's correct. I agree with you.
Thank you, Omar, for giving me a straight answer.
No, because Jurgens was solid when he picked up after Booster Gold, but again, it's the point that you're making. Understanding business is the branding. It's not
Thank
just
you.
about
That's all
just
I'm
a
saying.
character and a creator. It's about
So you can't compare
combo.
it to Booster Gold because he's sticking around with Aquaman to make it his new Green Lantern. And
But I don't know that
love
he's-
Jeff Johns.
I don't know that he's going to stick around that long.
By the way, for everybody following Jeff Johns on Twitter, he gave a shout out to Brian Michael Bendis for his all new X-Men and how it's a great book.
It's a shame when our heroes get drunk.
it's a damn shame.
They troll the worst when they're hammered.
I wouldn't call me a hero. So, come on.
All right, Charlie, let's hear. You got some picks. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
so yes, the top of my list was Aquaman.
Okay.
Aquaman, nice.
Aquaman. It's been good. It's been great.
Yes, it has.
It's been great.
Number
Black Manta, man. He's been amazing.
number 2 on my list was Wade's Daredevil.
Fucking racist.
Yep.
I
yep.
definitely
See, I
liking
called it.
Wade's
I knew it
Daredevil.
was going to be on Charlie's list.
Yep. Third on my list is Godzilla: Half Century War.
With Chris Samsey. Well, no, not Chris Samsey.
Which
What the hell's
one?
the
What
guy's
did you
name?
say?
I totally can't think of the artist's name right now. Let me look it up.
No, Chris Samney is the new artist.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Yeah.
Stoko?
Yeah, Stoko. Yeah.
And that book looks phenomenal. It's been a
James
great
Stocco.
read. And I'm also going to give it up to Happy.
I was
Happy-
actually
Happy's
kind of
actually
curious
been
on
good.
who is.
Dude,
gonna
that
pull
shit's
one
demented
out.
as fuck, though. Like, when I read that shit, it's just like...
Did you
makes
read
me
the
feel-
last issue?
Yes, fucking Unicorn in the card game. Dude, that shit was like... I was taking a shit and I was crying while I was watching that shit.
Happy crying or sad crying?
Side, yeah.
Then that last issue, whoa,
Yeah.
that was a good twist. I liked
Yes, as I said, it's working
it.
for
Morrison
me.
not on superhero characters, fucking awesome.
No, on superhero characters, awesome. It's just... It's a superhero character, so you think it's not cool.
Ryan obviously hasn't read the
because
book
everyone
yet
else is
because he's not
reading it.
commenting
There.
on this at all.
I'm waiting till it's over. I'll read them all at once.
I also have to give it up to Walking Dead this year. It's a year where I actually started watching it and blasted through it, and third season has been amazing. So, I'm a big fan of the books, and then I read them really early on and kind of fell off of it. And then when the show came on, I was like, cool, but for some reason I didn't jump on it. It was like, it took me quite a bit. But this year I watched them all, and I'm freaking so on board. Can't wait for the next Sunday or whenever it's coming back.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, Sundays
February 17th.
Yeah, Sundays became a highlight in my week because of Walking Dead. I'm like, it's
And
Sunday.
church.
I'm fucking watching Walking Dead, dead people.
My TV show, or I guess my TV show would be Game of Thrones, even though it's not technically comic book related.
Not comic book related.
I love it, but
But that show is
that counts.
That show has been
For those of you that don't know, that don't have a camera, we should do like camera on our fucking podcast. Brock was actually like holding a
His
C
balls?
cup. He was holding a C cup in his hand. Yeah, Game of Thrones.
That's like a big cup.
But no, it's I think that
What is
Sippy cup?
Going on.
I think that HBO really did a great job bringing this world to light, and a lot of people have really enjoyed it. So
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a C.
yes, they have.
the first, I make hand gestures and somebody makes a comment. These fuckers like literally touch themselves, flare their hands around like
You don't even know what's going on below the table. They
Oh,
take
yeah.
I'm
their
just being
pants off.
myself, Brock. I don't know what you're doing.
So no, but at Game of Thrones, I think TV wise would be my shout out.
Charlie, was there anything else? Was that your
No,
most of your stuff?
We've pretty much covered everything I thought was great in movies and television already.
The
so there you
Doctor
go.
Who fucking Christmas special is off the hook.
Yes. that
Oh, I
was-
just gotta say for some of you listeners out there that actually are interested in HeroClix, come out. We're gonna have actually our year end event where we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary here
Year-end
at
event,
Comics Conspiracy.
In the new year?
No. Well, it's actually gonna be in March. I haven't figured out the date yet, but it's gonna be pretty big.
1 year event.
Yeah,
1 year
and it's fucking cool. What I love about HeroClix is I fucking got it. It's like directly connected to the store. It's from fucking this guy here to my left. It's from fucking
I like
Bryce.
that your shirt is saying C&D Friday Night Clicks and nothing says about Comics Conspiracy on it.
I paid for this shirt. I paid for the shirt. I gotta make it that.
Comics and the kind.
Yeah. It's sponsored.
Comics Conspiracy.
I'm like his promoter. I'm like Don
They're
White.
just hosting it.
Yeah.
Ryan is like Mike Tyson. I'm like fucking Don King. I'm the one that makes him go in there and spend all his money.
Yeah. Ryan's just biting people's ears. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Anyways, come out in March. It's a fucking incredible thing. It's a fusion of fucking gamers and comic people, and I'm gonna try to get a bunch of bitches out too. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh Jesus, Ryan,
Yep.
what are yours?
Yeah. Well, I already
Do we
said.
finally install the polls?
I already said Batman. Clearly Batman. I mean, that has been amazing. Marvel. I mean, we've kind of covered the 3 books that I've loved from Marvel this year: Scarlet Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men, and then Thor. But I got to give it to Thor. I know we're only 3 issues in, so not enough to really get enough going. But those 3 issues are the best Thor I've probably ever read in my entire life.
Bro, I've seen your girlfriend, and I know you're all about visuals. It's really Assad Ribic. Just give him props because he's the
Ribic's
most
amazing.
fucking incredible illustrator out there.
Assad Ribic is amazing.
He'd be so much better drawing Batman, but
No.
I couldn't see that. I could not see him writing or drawing Batman.
Don't take him to the dark side. Quick question for actually you two. How long before Assad Ribic gets so high in his own supply and excited that he's being so successful and critically acclaimed with Thor that
He's just doing covers?
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously.
Well, he doesn't do much interior work. Yeah. He only does interior work from time to time. So they'll have him on for 4 or 6 issues, and then he'll do 4 or 6 issues.
Have him for maybe 1 more issue.
Yeah, every artist outside of John Romita Jr. that started any of these Marvel Now books, they will not be drawing the book in 6 issues.
What about Opeña?
No. Opeña can't do monthly work.
he'll be on for 4 more issues. I think he'll be on for at least 6 issues. Opeña can do it.
Nobody wants.
He could do
Romita
6.
Jr. and Romita Jr. will do all issues.
Yeah.
So you're only going to have like the one artist for like 2 months.
But we got
going to hop to another one.
But I mean, when you turn there's so many good books out this year. Other than those 2, I mean, Batman and Thor. Those are definitely my highlights for this year.
You can't hate on Marvel now though, because that shit's fucking. It's cool.
Overall,
you were talking a lot of shit earlier this year, Ryan.
Hey, you know what? And looking back, when they first announced it, it looked like it was going to be kind of a flop. And I'll tell you what, even from the retailer side, going on the retailer forum and looking at the reorders and what people are doing, a lot of people ordered real low. There was no heat behind it.
But you were comparing it to New 52, and that was the problem.
It was the problem.
New 52 is like big ball shit. That's like that requires someone like Diane Nielsen to like have no balls.
He's also
grab the balls.
He's also comparing it on
everywhere
on a retailer side.
I'd be worried if she had balls.
That's what I'm saying. They're from the retailer perspective. Marvel Now was a flop at start. There's no doubt about it. And retailers were not jumping on it. It took a little while, but by the time the second set of books started shipping, I mean, people went high on Uncanny Avengers, but a lot of their reorders and a lot of people are going kind of crazy on it now because the numbers did pick way up pretty quickly. So the initial orders from a lot of the retailers is low. But second prints, a lot of the stuff, a lot of people are looking for.
Well, because it wasn't done in 1 month.
Right. It was a difficult way to try to go about
they
it.
should have launched it like, boom. Here we are.
I think the outcome for Marvel is not as high as they wanted. I think it is decent. I think it is better than I expected, much better than I expected. But it just did not hit the numbers that DC hit. But
shout to all the new readers out there. Yep. Just quality over quantity. If you pick up 3 books a month and just keep coming back for 3 books, that's fucking fine.
Yep.
We don't want you to burn out. Just keep coming back.
Happens too often.
I forgot a book. I gotta give it up to Gambit.
Okay.
The white collar-ish Gambit is just a perfect kind of marriage, so I hope
Gambit's been great. I love Gambit, and this has been a really good take on the character.
Yeah, I really hope this sticks around for quite a while. So
you
got to give it a gap. Yep.
Yeah. Movies, we already said Dark Knight, no question. Avengers is fun, but it's not the same.
How can we say all this stuff without fucking
TV shows?
What's his name passing the keys away? For Star Wars, fucking George Lucas walking away from fucking
big news
because we haven't seen the new Star Wars yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was I think that was one of the.
To see the keys go away.
That was one of the kind of. Well, I knew that was coming announcements from this year after we heard that Lucas was.
No one.
No,
No one.
Not that one.
Saw that coming.
No, not Disney buying Lucas.
Oh, okay.
No, for me it was that Dark Horse is no longer going to be having Star Wars comics.
Yeah,
pretty much within the next 2 years.
You know why? because it's going to go to Marvel, and then WizKids is going to get the license. And we're going to have a fucking Death Star, motherfucking colossal.
It always comes back to here.
I'm going to shoot your ass.
Baby.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking pulse wave all your asses.
Now that is cool, but the depressing thing is I really don't want to
I
read
could
any.
see Star Wars hero clicks. I could see
too
that.
busy going, and then you're going to have like the individual planets that take damage.
Dude, Dagobah.
I'd be really worried.
Dude, are you kidding?
I'd be really
Also
worried.
Bloodstone, critical hit.
Yeah.
Omar's going to completely transform the store. All the books are going to be gone. It's going to be all. It's all going to be Star Wars planets.
Jeez.
Hey, if we can make some money, it's all good.
The TV shows, man. Walking Dead has been good. I'm finally catching up, so I'm almost done with this first half season. Walking Dead's been great. Arrow really, really caught me off guard. Young Justice. I mean, I can't say anything.
How corny, incredible. How corny and incredible.
You know, it has some cheesy
Green
moments,
Arrow
but
was.
then it's got a lot of parts where I really.
My girlfriend turned it on for like 10 minutes, and she's like, I am so not having a nerd boner right now. And I was like, how do you even know about a nerd boner?
She's just getting wet because he's always half naked and doing like sit-ups and pull-ups, and
they know the other half of their target audience.
They definitely do. He's always like fucking shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, all the CW, right? Isn't all the CW?
Yeah, let me
half
sleep
of them are all just
half
women
naked,
checking out men.
Yeah, let me work out right now with
Yeah.
another man who's also half naked.
Yeah, they definitely Smallville. They were just too young at start, but by the end, they were.
Oh, they did. Come on, first episode, Clark Kent's half naked with an S drawn on his chest, tied up.
Yeah, but that was a little.
I could see all the teenage girls go, ooh.
But when that show got into kind of the back half of the season of the series, they definitely amped up the male sexuality in that show because they knew their audience. So and Arrow, they're like, oh, we're just gonna from the first episode, we're gonna have them naked through the whole thing. So. Yeah, but I mean, I guess if I gotta give it to everything, if I gotta give it to anything, I gotta give it to Young Justice. Just beyond anything that I've a show's delay has maybe outside of Lost has not affected me the way Young Justice has. Like just the frustration of them just fucking the show over has made me so mad.
I got a hug here for you, bro.
No.
I got a hug here.
What about Community?
It's good. And by Community, okay. Young Justice, it's like they broke its legs and are letting it drag itself to death. Community, they just shot it in the head. So at least it's dead. At least we know it's out of our misery.
Yes, but the actors don't know they're dead because they're still putting out videos online.
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be another season. I mean, there's still another season of Community and all that, but it's not the show. The show's dead. Community's dead. I mean, it's over. This is a different show, just called Community with the same cast members. Young Justice, it's like they've crippled and it's just limping along a slow death.
But it kept like not giving up. It kept being there. It's like it's still awesome. It's like, oh, you fucked us over, but we're still going to bust out an awesome episode. Oh, you fucked us over again.
Yep,
oh, guess what? We're going to do one more good episode.
Cartoon Network is the greatest sin in the face of the earth in the last 150 years. That's my call, and I'm gonna put it there. So
it's like using Jergens lotions to jack off instead of mineral oil.
Yeah, the Nazis had nothing on Cartoon Network, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Well, you went to the Nazis?
Always go to the Nazis.
Well, you really went there.
Fuck.
Anyway, so there we go. That was 2012. 2013. What do you guys want to see? Superman?
Boobies.
Yeah.
Man of Steel?
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
I'm all about the Superman, man. That
Thor
trailer
2.
got me.
Oh, Thor 2.
Comics?
Yeah, Thor 2. Thor 2 for me. Thor 2.
Superman.
Oh, here's something from 2012 that we didn't really touch on. Big news before Watchmen. I was going to say, because that wraps up next year. And I'll be real curious to see how that goes.
Or read that?
Yeah, it's
even
good.
Brock said that he didn't like that.
Before Watchmen?
Before Watchmen stuff?
They've been good.
Brock doesn't like anything.
It's been, some of them have been okay. I was surprised with Ozymandias. I thought I wouldn't like it because it was Jay Lee art, but that's been a really, really good story.
Yeah.
Minutemen, I think due to the delay in the books, it's lost a little bit of the momentum it had.
Hey, wait, time out really quick. Just see, because you're talking about Ozymandias, like two subjects. So, do you guys know there are such things as ligers? I just found this out.
Yeah.
There's such thing as a
Incredible.
liger.
They're
oh
like
my god,
13-foot long
they're like
lion
prehistoric
tigers.
motherfucking
It's crazy. Did you
saber
Google it?
toots, dude. No, I
thought
fucking just
that it was
found out
fake
this
and I
yesterday.
Googled it.
Yeah, this is like during like fucking one of my.
How is this coming up right now?
family
I don't
holiday
know.
parties.
It sounds like something
dude,
we
it's
should talk over
incredible.
beers,
Dude,
but-
I want a fucking pet liger.
Dude, they all die. because they're too big. Can we talk about this later over beers?
Okay, let's talk over beers.
Okay. Anyway, I'm shocked that that Brock was like, that's not actually so good. Now he's sort of backpedaling. He seems to have liked some of them.
Well, the thing is with before Watchmen, we got Watchmen. Most of us have read Watchmen as a trade. We didn't necessarily read it in single issue format. Some of us may have. I don't know. I didn't read it in single issue. So when they announced it, to me it was reading a single issue. I think I would lose something from it, and some of them did lose like power behind the story because it was reading it in single issue. Now, when I go back and reread them in trade, I'll probably have a different opinion. But it's I think it's been under the radar good, but also under the radar kind of eh.
DC spent a lot of money on that shit, though, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But they've sold well and all that, but like to me, I guess the bottom line is I don't think any one of those books elicited the same reaction from me that like Batman did or Daredevil did or Aquaman did. That's really what it comes down to. The hype and everything around it made you kind of want them to be great, and they only really came in as good.
But I think the fear people were like, this is going to be the worst. This is worse than the Nazis is before Watchmen, right? I mean, people were so angry about it. You know, this is actually it turned out pretty decent.
He sucks. That's correct.
Why is Bryce yelling at my girlfriend through the window?
He's asking for passwords.
Hello.
Not me.
We're still recording the podcast, so hang out for a few minutes. Okay.
There's this hot Hoppa chick that just walked in. She must know Ryan.
So, 2013, we got Superman, Man of Steel, both of those.
Yeah.
The movie and the comic, hopefully for next year. What else we got?
We have
There's a lot of steel.
And besides
going on
your
next year.
Iron Man, yeah, we got your Thor. Those are exciting. Comic-wise, though, have we heard? We got nothing coming.
I mean, we have the Justice League of America book.
Yeah, I mean, that starts real
Oh,
soon.
the Age of Ultron, bro.
Oh,
Nobody cares.
don't even
Are you
get me
kidding?
started
It's been
on
drawn
that.
I don't even know about it, and it's going to be fucking amazing.
It's like 2 years in the making, bro.
Yeah.
It doesn't
That
even matter. It's going to be great.
Age of Ultron
I mean, we're
looks
gonna-
like the biggest.
You know,
Maybe he wrote it for 2 years, so
Do
it's
you
going to be
guys-
extra awesome.
Do you guys even know anything about it? Do you
Yeah,
fucking shit already?
Yeah, it's already out of continuity.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you're out of continuity.
No.
This whole podcast is out of fucking continuity.
No, the
No,
only thing that
no.
bothers me right now about Age of Ultron was when I was looking in the previews, and the first month previews has issues 1 through 3 in it.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
Yes.
first one preview has number 4 in it.
Age
the
of
next
Ultron-
one, you can order number 2 and 3.
Age of Ultron takes place during Bendis' Avengers run.
Don't you just love how Ex Nihilo's little sidekick robot is actually
The worst character. The second worst
earliest-
character ever made?
He's like the early version of Ultron.
second
Because he
worst
just
character
comes
ever
and
made?
destroys worlds. Oh,
Yeah.
mind blown.
Well, Ryan's the second worst
El
character ever.
Niho. What is he? A freaking
Ex Nihilo.
What is he? A freaking tropical hurricane or something? What is this
yeah, that's
character?
a good
He's
insult.
awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Okay, so
Terrible.
can another thing on the 2012? Can we just talk for 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Since nobody but me likes Bendis. Bendis threw in the towel, not threw in the towel, but handed over the reins, passed the baton, if you will, on Avengers. Hickman so far is doing a great job on
Can I
Avengers.
just say that, thank you so much for reminding me that
Didn't we already
Hickman,
talk about this
who's most
No,
one
we
of the
haven't
most
yet.
It always comes
incredible
back to this.
creators in the business right now,
Yeah.
like over Jeff Johns, like Fantastic Four, actually.
Wait,
I didn't even
what did
bring
you
that
just
up.
say?
Fantastic Four
Yeah.
was one of the
Hickman
best
wrapped up FF,
books,
which was amazing.
Yeah.
Started Avengers,
sales
which
wise,
is amazing.
and
Sales have been
stories
great.
wise.
Bendis passes the baton this year, which is kind of, I mean, what was it, 10 years?
Yeah,
It was a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was time.
Okay,
it was time.
okay.
Like-
Rewind to the comment about Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns is incredible, but he's got nothing
amazing.
on Hickman. I'm sorry.
Boom, that just happened, and it's accurate.
Yeah, because Jeff Johns writes good books.
Your stutter insult failed, Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Hickman, great. Hickman FF, great. Hickman Avengers,
Incredible.
are you gonna wait more than
Okay,
2 issues
so-
to cast your judgment, Higgins?
no.
Oh, well,
We
judgment
can
and critic
I
fail.
love Green Lantern 2 years ago. I
Ooh,
love
yep,
Well,
I
accurate.
love
Okay.
Aquaman. But nothing
And what about Justice League? Come on.
Justice League has
That's his other book.
has been great for the first 5 issues, and after that it's been
That's a meh.
because I loved that Johns and Lee actually put their balls out to try to reintroduce us to the Justice League. For many of us that have never even seen the Justice League when the first time they met. And the first time they met, Batman wasn't a part of it.
Yeah.
It was Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, fucking Wonder Woman, Flash, and there's someone else missing.
You can.
It doesn't matter, but it took
Cyborg?
two of the
Cyborg
biggest
wasn't part of the original
greatest creators in comic. I mean, I would almost say history to collaborate on this JLA book right now. And how's it selling, Ryan? Two of the biggest modern day comic creators, artist, the biggest writer, probably one of the top 3, if not
Jim Lee
the
hasn't
writer. And how's it selling?
Jim Lee hasn't done art on a Justice League book in the last 6 issues.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how did it do? It was still in 2012.
It was the number 1 or number 2 comic every month.
But how's it been story-wise?
Good. Great. Fun. Exciting. Is it as good? Here's the problem.
I'm looking for it to be blockbuster or not.
The thing is this. I think they sort of, once you got out of Darkseid, they should have gone for another classic villain, but I understand that DC wanted to introduce some new villains, and I don't feel the second villain in the second and third arcs were as strong as it was from that first arc, because they should have gone to the Joker. They should have gone to some other big
Joker
fight.
being a JLA villain?
That would have been weird.
Did you read Morrison's, what the hell is it? What's the arc with the Joker? Where they, with the Warlogog, when they go into the future and they have to go back and fight Darkseid and all that
Rock
shit.
of Ages.
Rock of Ages.
How
Thank
come
you.
I'm always going to remind you that?
That was the Joker is clearly a JLA villain. I mean, that was an amazing.
I think Seth has something to say here.
But what I'm saying is,
Seth is getting ready. His braces are coming out. You got to watch out.
I was just agreeing that the second arc on JLA or JL wasn't. It felt like a '90s arc to me.
Didn't it really?
With David Graves or what?
But it was a '90s.
It felt like
You remembered his name. I didn't remember his name.
But here's what I'm saying. From Darkseid is a clear fall to any other thing. You need a name villain for that second arc, and I think if you Jim Lee drawing, and Starro doesn't even cut it. You need a name for that second arc.
The only good thing about fucking
Luther
would have been a good
Luther
one.
would have been perfect
Because he could have been planning his shit out while they were fighting Darkseid, and then he would
Brainiac?
I should fucking write for DC.
Brainiac would be okay. Luther was your second arc.
The only cool thing I really like that
Brainiac
they got
would have been the third or fourth.
from Darkseid was the boom tube technology that Cyborg uses all the time to teleport everybody everywhere. That's fucking cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that Cyborg is like the head technologist even over Batman. Batman's like, oh, I brought Cyborg.
Well, I think with Justice League, it's that first arc was kind of the like giving us the past. It was giving us the origin story, and then kind of we were thrown a little bit into the future with that second story arc. But like you said, it didn't. It felt like we should have had something else.
Yeah.
To me, the second story arc just felt like building blocks, which is what Johns does really well. Is he writes for the long haul. He doesn't write for the individual.
Because the drops with what's going on with the cheetah and all that stuff. I mean, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, the crossover with the Throne of Atlantis is starting out to be amazing. So,
well, we've actually gone long enough. So I think we're going to have to go ahead and wrap this up.
Yes, wrap it up on Justice League.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad that Superman and Wonder Woman are fucking now.
Yeah. That big news story of the year.
There's a movie coming out. There's a movie coming out next year about that too. So you can only buy it in those random stores on the corner of the streets.
But
Bryce,
24
hours. We're going to say goodbye to you first. You get a jet. It was great having you on this podcast.
I do have a 5-month-old baby. And
Yeah,
I forgot this was an extra long episode.
Yeah, extra long
things in our family.
But we're wrapping it up here.
So anyway, thanks so much, Larsen Bryce. Larsen with an E-N, Bryce with a Y. Twitter. That's my Twitter for. Makes sense.
Hit a Bryce on Twitter.
Thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody for listening. Happy 2012. Looking forward to 2013. Love you guys, and I'm excited for more Marvel love in 2013.
Hell yeah!
Excellent. Everyone else,
That was the gayest outro I've ever heard.
Do we have any
really eloquent?
You got some love.
Anyone have a little any last minute shout outs here? We're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. Anything? We're good. All right. I think we're good. I'm sure there's 1,000 things we forgot. I'm sure we'll mention them next week or in upcoming weeks. But we will go ahead and turn off this podcast as the last episode for 2012, episode 89. I am going to outro this bitch. Right. Don't forget to go to www.geekbox.net where you can listen to this episode and all our other episodes, as well as episodes of the Geekbox, the award-winning Good Job Brain, and as well as the Comedy Button. So go there. You can go to forums.geekbox.net and you can talk to us, talk about comics, video games, movies, all sorts of random crap on there. Comicsconspiracy.biz, B-I-Z. You can go and also see these episodes on there. It's our site. You can order some fandom variants from us. You can go on our digital website, digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. We all got random things. Well, most of us have random things we do. Brock's got his Brock's blog. I always want to say Brock's brog. ConspiratorBrock.com. Don't forget Comics and Da Kine. That's Omar's site where he's talking some clicks, some hippity hop music, some whatever else Omar's into
Cosplay,
these days.
toys.
Cosplay.
Bitches.
We got Charlie's other podcast, whatever the hell it's called.
Infinite Long Box.
Infinite Long Box, which just had their 2012 year in review episode. So you can go on there, probably a little more organized than ours. Most of us are on Twitter. Actually, we're all on Twitter, including Seth, if you want to throw out your Twitter.
Is that Goat Cheese something?
Goat cheese is Gru cheese.
Oh, Gru Cheese. I was close.
You know
Sorry,
Sergio
not my memory.
Aragonés and you know Gru, then it's just Gru cheese dip.
It's Ryan Higgins. Ryan.
I was pretty close, man. Come on. For doing it out of memory from when was the last time you were on?
Not bad. Not bad.
Omar's mic is still off. Ryan Higgins. Ryan.
Tasty.
Brock Sager. Comics and Dakine. Seth is Gru, Groo, cheese dip. Yes, Gru is a big fan of cheese dip, so Seth
Tasty cheese and
named
dips.
his after Gru cheese dip. Bryce Larsen is Larsen Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. We are going to head and end this episode here. I think that's everything.
We out, yo.
Have a good 2012, or the end of 2012.
Are you going to put, like, for old acquaintance be forgot on the end?
No. Have a good 2013. Have a safe new year, and we will catch everyone next week.